Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. In this video it's going to be a slightly different format to the rest of the videos on this channel. As you can see, we're obviously not near the car, we're not at the garage or anything like that, we're currently sat in my office. And I just kind of basically want to give you an intro into what to expect from this video with it being different to the rest of the videos. The reason this video is different is because I filmed it in a different location, a busier location. I actually filmed it outside my house and I wasn't that confident in speaking to the camera and recording myself whilst I worked on my car. So a lot of these clips that you're going to see, I'm going to be voiceovering from here in my office. I'm basically taking you through what I'm doing in the clips and what my thought process was and why I'm doing what I'm doing basically. So I hope you enjoy this video even though it is going to be totally different. Here's a photo of the part that I'm going to focus on in this video. When we've put it on the 4-post lift, I'm basically used a pry bar in that area there, obviously is a bit close up. The noise that I'm obviously experiencing happened straight away, so we knew this was the part that we were going to try and focus on. Here's a picture of the bottom of the part. As you can see, it's held in by a pin along with the 2 bolts that I showed earlier, and it has a safety screw that holds the pin. And as you can see, when we tried to remove the safety screw to remove the pin, it did snap inside the knuckle, which was the first problem that we encountered. Here's a sped up clip of me removing the 2 nuts from the 2 bolts that are holding in the part to the hyper strut. It's just nice and simple, obviously removing the nuts. But then what we do actually realise, I realise, is the bolt actually splined and pressed into the hyper strut. So it's not just going to come off how I originally thought. I thought I would just take these off and the nuts would come out the top and it would be a bit easier. So once I've removed them 2 nuts there, as you can see, I'm just pointing out, this is obviously the pin that pushes straight through the knuckle and holds the part in place. To get this out, I assumed you'd be able to kind of just pull it out, or you'd be able to pry it out somehow. So you can see me using a screwdriver here, and all I'm trying to do is kind of break basically the connection between the part and the knuckle, because obviously it's corroded a little bit, has a bit of dirt, grime, whatever. So I'm just trying to scrape around the edge so that I can spray it with WD-40 and it'll hopefully penetrate a bit better. At this point as well, I had not realised that this pin was also splined, so it wouldn't just pull out if I wanted to. I would have to actually push it out from the top. And by now obviously I've realised that it does have to be pushed out from the top, like from the knuckle. So obviously you can see I've half pushed out the drive shaft at the moment, because where the pin actually sits is underneath where the drive shaft connects to the knuckle, like it kind of sits flush. So I've had to remove that, so obviously I've just removed the front ball off the top, off the front, sorry, and just used a punch, basically just to push the drive shaft out, just so I can get kind of some visibility to see where the pin actually sits. So obviously this is still the part that we're working on. I will try and insert the name of this part, but I can't remember it off the top of my head while I'm doing this. So I think at this point what I've realised is, even with the drive shaft just pushed out a little bit, I still can't get access to the top of the pin that I obviously need to push out to remove the broken part. So what I'm trying to do is remove the drive shaft completely from the hub. And obviously I'm being very cautious with that little disc that's kind of around the drive shaft. I'm not 100% sure what that is for, so if somebody could drop a comment that would be great. But I just felt that I didn't want to destroy that at all, so I kept moving that out the way, obviously you can see, whilst I push it, and just trying to basically manoeuvre the drive shaft out because it's quite a tight gap. In this clip I'm obviously trying to show you the top of the pin that's sat in the knuckle. It's obviously just next to the bearing there, underneath the drive shaft. So I'm just trying to get a better shot just to show you what I'm trying to access. And obviously you can see again a better view of the top two bolts for the actual part that we're trying to remove. So then I'm just trying to get the camera to focus and to zoom in. And the reason it looks so wet is because I have sprayed it a lot with WD-40 at that point. So now I'm going to use the punch to see that I can pop the pin out the bottom. I did find out though that this punch that I have is too big for the top of the pin, so I couldn't actually get the leverage that I needed to, and also because the drive shaft's still slightly in, I could not get the correct angle on top of the pin, so I did obviously have to abandon this kind of idea as well. Okay, so I just wanted to give a little bit of a backstory using this photo before the next clip. As you can see, I've highlighted two parts which both have the same part number. One has the flex ride, which is obviously the VXR, and one is without. So I managed to get my hands on a regular GTC Hyperstrut knuckle hub setup. So I thought to make things easier, I was just going to swap over the whole assembly, obviously change out the hub, but basically swap over the whole assembly, and then I wouldn't have to worry about the snap screw that is inside the knuckle on the car at the moment. But as you can see from the photo that I'm going to show you next, things didn't quite go to plan. So in this picture I've got both of the assemblies. On the left I have the VXR assembly from my car, and on the right I have the regular GTC assembly. And despite their part numbers being the same as you've seen in the picture beforehand, they are not the same part. The VXR one obviously has the cutout for the flex ride module, I believe, and the regular GTC does not have that, which caused us an issue because obviously the part numbers were perfectly fine, and I didn't really think to check this kind of thing because the part numbers matched, and that's usually what you would kind of rely on. So this threw another spanner in the works. So to get around that, what we ended up doing was just taking the knuckle off both of them and swapping them over. So I ended up with the VXR Hyperstrut, the knuckle from the regular GTC, which are the same, and then the hub from the VXR. So now obviously we're trying to fit the two parts together, and here I'm obviously just trying to line up the top, which is the camber adjustment, and I'm just trying to get the two bolts back in there just to kind of hold it in place, and then obviously I can get kind of the bottom part connected as well. Obviously what I didn't show, and it was because it kind of happened from nowhere basically, was we got the two bolts that were pressed in that hold the part to the Hyperstrut, and basically to get them out all you have to do is use a punch and basically just hammer them. That's how my uncle ended up getting them out for me. And then obviously in this video we find out to put them back in you do need to line them up properly before you put them in. So I found out that you had to put the furthest one back in first. So in this clip right here, the one furthest to the right I need to put in first. I did find out that the hard way and had to re-punch them back out because they wouldn't line up with them being splined. But I'm just trying to here, obviously, as I said, just get it all put back together. Then once it's on the car I can try and get some adjustments, and then fingers crossed this obviously does fix the knocking, and that part was actually causing the issue as well. And for anybody that's going to say anything after this video, I did get a 4-wheel alignment to get it sorted. So I know obviously I've been messing around with all the suspension. It was rectified once I'd actually finished working on the car.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
Silhouettes of you are like a taunt. Never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm.
Okay, so I've just quickly jumped clips there, and it was because at the end of the last clip I actually put these in incorrectly, which obviously I've already noted the correct way you need to put them. So yeah, I'd actually put them in the wrong way first. So in this clip I'm obviously just doing them the correct way so that I can get them both punched in.
I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free. You know I'm addicted to you, and it's twisted, you've been gifted with the evil voodoo. Got me coming back for more, even when I've been screwed. Dolls full of pins, pierce my heart straight through. I got issues in my head, I like you in my bed, but you keep me on red. Oh, everything is like a test, I better not text or I'll come off desperate.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me?
So if I play dead, will you regret everything that you did, that you said? I don't think you understand what you're doing, and my heart's black and blue from the bruising. I feel like when I'm with you I'm losing. I feel like you think that this amusing, sitting there gaslighting and confusing. Was it me? Is it me? Am I deluded? I'm the one who's always sorry, the conclusion, even though I offer all of the solutions. I wish you loved me like I love you, it's stupid. When I'm alone with you I never feel lucid. I wish I wasn't struck by Cupid. I wish when I first saw you I knew this. When I'm with you I feel so useless, I feel diluted, my heart's been wounded. Silhouettes of you are like a taunt, never really know just what you want. With you I don't ever feel calm, I can feel the sweat inside my palms. Play with me like cats and a string. You don't understand the pain it brings. You don't ever wanna give me wings. You don't ever wanna set me free.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, baby you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed, thinking something out of my nightmares, standing right there. But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, then will you get bored of killing me? Then will you get bored of killing me? And will you get bored of killing me? And will you get bored of killing me? And will you get bored of killing me?
And now everything's put back together, obviously I do need to tighten everything up properly, but the actual hyper strut assembly is now on the strut, and that's a big thank you to my uncle because I had a lot of issue getting this on, and he obviously took time out of his day to actually help me with this. But now obviously hopefully this is going to fix the issue that we're having, and hopefully it might help anybody else. I hope nobody else is having this issue, but in case you obviously are, hopefully this helps you a little bit. I just wanted to give a quick thank you to anybody who's obviously watched this video. I know it was a totally different setup to the rest of my videos, and I do appreciate it. So if obviously you could give me any feedback, that would be great. And please don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Bye bye.